Paulus Massa. Obi-Wan Kenobi returns to his friends as promised. And Padme and Bail Organa couldn't be happier. They've been waiting on pins and needles to find out what happened to Anakin and to Palpatine. Bail Organa had ordered a communications blackout the moment they landed, wanting to make sure that the whereabouts of Queen Amidala were not found out. So the two of them have been in the dark since Master Yoda left. Padme rushes to Obi-Wan as he walks through the entryway. Did you find Anakin, Obi-Wan? Is he alright? Did you find a way to bring him back to us? With a sad, sick look on his face, Obi-Wan Kenobi says, I'm sorry, Padme, but Anakin's dead. I had to kill him. And Padme breaks down into tears. After giving Padme a few moments to deal with the shock of losing Anakin, Bail, Padme, and Obi-Wan meet in the conference room, where Obi-Wan tells the others about his confrontation with Anakin. Obi-Wan also tells them that he heard on the holovid that a Jedi tried to assassinate Emperor Palpatine. Bail Organa says, that's it then. We won't be able to hit the Emperor straight on, and we'll have to leave soon. The Emperor wants the royal family of Alderaan to pledge their allegiance. Obi-Wan Kenobi speaks up. What do you mean, we? Bail says, Padme's coming back to Alderaan with me. There, we'll be able to hide her and keep her and the children safe. Padme turns to Obi-Wan and says, Master Yoda said I would have to separate my children. He said they'd be like a candle in a dark room, and that Palpatine would be able to find them easily if they were together. He said for the same reason he's going into hiding, and that you should too. Obi-Wan Kenobi thinks to himself, this is all happening so fast. I didn't have time to think of the ramifications. Then he looks at Padme with a sad look in his eye and says, Master Yoda is correct. Finding Force-sensitive beings can be difficult, but if two are close together, the Force burns brighter, and with the bond that twins share, the Force will be very powerful in them, making it easier for Palpatine to find them, and he'll be looking, since he just lost his apprentice. Bail Organa speaks up. I can adopt one of them. The Emperor wouldn't dare, taking a member of the royal family away from the royal family, even if that member was Force sensitive. She'll be safe on Alderaan. Angrily, Padme says, if you gentlemen are done giving away my children, I think I've got a say in this. I think my best course of action is to have my babies on Alderaan, and when I'm ready, go join the rebellion. My children will stay with me. With great sorrow in his voice, Obi-Wan Kenobi says, no. If you keep your children together, you lose them both. Padme snaps back. You expect me just to give one of my children to the galaxy? You expect me to cast one of them aside and only care for the other. Now in a stern tone, Obi-Wan says, I expect you to protect your children. The Force will bring them back together one day, and when it does, it will end this evil. I can feel it. I will take one of them someplace safe, and with a family who will care and love for them. And I will be close enough by to be able to protect him if anything happens, but not close enough to endanger him. Sadly, Padme turns and says, Tell me about this family you have in mind, and this safe place you're going to take him to. Tatooine, on an isolated moisture farm, just outside of Mos Eisley. Owen Lars looks to the horizon to see a figure he thought he'd never see before. Obi-Wan Kenobi yells out to his old friend, Hello, Owen. I was wondering if we could talk. A woman Obi-Wan Kenobi had never seen before yells out, Owen, who is this? Owen answers, This is Jedi Master Obi-Wan Kenobi. Obi-Wan, this is my wife Beru. Now I don't mean to be rude, but what are you doing here? I'm assuming you need something. Otherwise you wouldn't have come all this way. Beru hits her husband. Don't be rude, Owen. Obi-Wan, would you like to come inside and have a drink? Beru gets the beverages and then meets Obi-Wan and Owen at the table. As soon as Beru sits down at the table, Obi-Wan Kenobi begins to tell them about everything that's happened. He tells them about Anakin's fall to the dark side, and how Obi-Wan had to kill him. He tells them about Palpatine being a Sith Lord, and he tells them about Padme and her children, and the dangers they'll face if the twins are permitted to stay together. Obi-Wan says, I'm asking the pair of you to take the male twin. Padme insists his name will be Luke, but you can give him your last name if you want to, and you'll raise him as your own. Padme has agreed to this. She won't come looking for him. We've got the whole thing set up. We've got fake passports for ya, and tickets on a transport to Alderaan, so you can pick up the boy. We've also created adoption papers for ya, so there won't be any legal issues. This will be your son. Owen and Beru have been silent this whole time Obi-Wan has been talking, but Owen can't stay quiet any longer. Let me get this straight. You want me to take care of the son of the man who drove me from the Jedi Order, and protect him from the most powerful being in the galaxy. I'm not a Jedi anymore, Obi-Wan. Even when I wasn't a great fighter. With embarrassment and shame in his voice, Obi-Wan says, I know, Owen. I wouldn't be here if this wasn't the best place to hide the boy. And I know it's a lot to ask, taking on a child. But I trust you, Owen. You're a good man, and you'll raise this boy right. And I won't be far away if any danger comes. Owen asks, well, won't you have the same problem if you and the boy are close together, as you would if the boy and his sister were close together? Obi-Wan answers, I'll be close, but not that close. I thought I'd set up a hut just beyond the Dune Sea. There, I can keep an eye on things and still stay far enough away so the boy and I won't be detected. Owen says you'll have to give us a few minutes. Baru and I haven't even discussed children yet, and now you're throwing one right in our lap. Obi-Wan says, of course, take your time. Obi-Wan waits patiently, and after an hour or so, Owen and Baru come out from the house. Owen says, if this is the safest place for the child, we can't turn him away. But we won't be raising him as a Jedi. And he's going to keep the last name Skywalker. Obi-Wan says that's great. But why keep his last name? That will tip them off if any Imperials are snooping around Tatooine. Baru says we're gonna call him Skywalker so that we never forget the danger he's in. And we're gonna love him like our own. But we're not gonna lie to him and tell him that he is our own. Owen says besides, if the Empire gets close enough to hear his name, we're screwed anyway. Obi-Wan Kenobi says, fair enough. Thank you both so much. You won't be just taking in a child. You'll be protecting the hope of the galaxy. Owen and Baru Lars watches as Obi-Wan Kenobi walks off into the desert. Obi-Wan Kenobi, Jedi Master, General in the Republic Army, spy, adventurer, and friend, has only one job right now: protector. Obi-Wan finds where he will build his home and decides he needs to change his name. This is where he will stay, and Ben will be his identity until the Force tells him the galaxy needs him again.
Kiss a Wookiee, kick a droid, fly the Falcon through an asteroid till the princess is annoyed. This is spaceships, it's monsters, it's Star Wars, we love it.